Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. What a beautiful morning. How do you like my new poster? I think it is absolutely amazing. This wasn't on last week because last week I was at the FBI Chef School broadcasting from their amazing venue, and it felt like a big stoop. Really enjoyed it. Was completely like everything was out of its place and nothing was where it was supposed to be. So I'm very happy to be back today, although I thoroughly enjoyed last week. So welcome. What a beautiful morning again this morning. I see the sun is getting up later and later. Our featured guest this morning is still sitting in the dark, but not because she doesn't know what's going on, because she's in Cape Town. So you can't have both. You can't be in Cape Town and sunshine this early in the morning in the winter, apparently. So really excited to get into this morning. Going to be talking to Robyn from Hadeda and Link Tank, and we're going to talk about MoneyEQ. So really excited for that. It's all about how you can understand your clients better and how they make it a lot easier for you to go through the process. And also what we're doing is we're all going to bring in Hendrik Crafford. Most of you will know Hendrik. He does the financial coaching segment here on the show, and he's also been a guest on the show before. So you should know him, but he's been using this now for quite a while, and he's going to give some feedback on what he's seeing, how clients are experiencing this, and what's working, and why it's such an amazing tool. So that's basically what we're going to talk about today. But before we do, we need to know what is going on in the world of financial planning and financial services in South Africa and elsewhere in the world. So on that note, let me welcome back David Kopp from the Financial Planning Institute of Southern Africa. And I'm going to go over to the new studio and hear what David has to share with us this morning.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this edition of the Friday Weekly News. And to start off with, let's talk things Bitcoin. And we can't talk about Bitcoin nowadays without talking about Elon Musk and the power he seems to have. So he went on Twitter and stated that Tesla will no longer be accepting Bitcoin for the purchase of their cars due to environmental concerns. So as we know, Bitcoin uses a lot of energy in order to be mined, and that is very bad for the environment because it still uses a lot of fossil fuels. And on that announcement, Bitcoin fell about 12% or lost about $366 billion. So just from 140 characters from one person, Bitcoin is back in the news, and that's quite a bit of power. Moving on from Bitcoin, the Daily Maverick reported on the Insure Group and what they did as premium collectors, where essentially what they did is, instead of paying the money across to insurers within the 45-day period and keeping it in a liquid account, they decided to try and rather invest the money and earn super profits on it. And that all went horribly wrong when VBS collapsed. So again, on the Daily Maverick, quite an interesting read about what can go wrong in the financial services market, costing the insurers nearly 944 million rand. Then also in keeping with, I think, the theme of today, and if you're following behavioral finance, we reported a few weeks ago about the noise study that was released by Oxford Risk and Momentum Invest in collaboration with the Financial Planning Institute. I'm here to report that a new book by Daniel Kahneman has been released called Noise. And in that, it really looks at why people make bad decisions and bad judgments, and how by controlling noise and cognitive bias, you can actually start making better decisions. So again, going to look like quite an interesting read. And then for those of you who are live today and not watching later, you can't be accused of this. And what I'm talking about is Herkel Durkel. So I'm not swearing at you. That is actually a Scottish term that talks about lying around in bed long after you should have gotten up. So those watching live are not Herkel Durkeling, but those watching later probably Herkel Durkel this morning. So that's just a bit of fun news for you to use at dinner parties. So thank you very much, and back to you in the studio, Francois.
I love it. Dirkle. I just want to say that one must be very careful about who you listen to. But you must be very, very, very careful and diligent. But yeah, so amazing. Thank you, David. That was fun. I love it. Yeah, just amazing. So thank you for doing this and some interesting insights. So we'll see you or somebody else from the FBI back next week. So have a fantastic weekend.
Thank you. You too, and to the listeners too.
Cool, and keep laughing. It's brilliant. All righty, bye-bye. All right, so with that, so I love these things. It's just amazing. Quite off my game now. So let's go. Next up, Norma Simon's doing the personal development section, and this morning talking about a topic that I've touched on before, or said in some of these things, and I'm really quite curious to hear what she's going to talk about. She's going to be talking about making decisions. So let's hear what Norma's got to say.
Good morning. I'm talking about making decisions today. So I'll first share a personal story, and then I'll bring awareness how you make decisions, and then just share some helpful tips. So my story is that I have a goal for this year, and to achieve this goal, I was thinking of getting a coach to help me get that result. So this decision I really had to make was to either get a coach or try and get to that result on my own. So the sort of thinking that was going on in this last couple of months was really things like, how is my life going to be sort of inconvenienced, while in the pursuit of this goal? Am I going to have to step up my game a bit? How is my routine going to be influenced? What is the cost going to be involved when getting this coach? Am I going to have to allocate a lot more hours to this goal? So those are sort of the thoughts that wasn't very useful. And then on the other hand, there was useful thoughts about how inspired I got when I thought about this goal and how I visualized and saw myself actually achieving this goal. So I took this decision sort of to the next level this week by actually going and approaching one of the two coaches that I was thinking of. And I had a discussion with him, and he gave me all the sort of ins and outs of the program and what his packages were all about, and also told me about the results that I was going to get, and then also sharing some of the results he got for some of his other clients. So I was immediately sold. I went back the next day, we did an assessment, and I basically signed up. So the reason I told you this story was to show you what sort of my decision-making process was, what I had to go through to get to a decision. So what I want to ask you today is sort of, what is your process to get to a decision? So are you one of those people that maybe take long to make a decision, or do you make your decisions easy? Do you have to speak to a lot of people before you make a decision? Do you do a lot of research? Do you have to compare quite a bit? Does money influence your decision? So this and these decision making is not necessarily for what am I going to eat tonight, or it's not for making life-changing decisions, but it's really just to the things that move the needle on a daily basis to basically get us closer to where we want to be. So just look at your own life and see, are you where you really want to be in life? And has your decision making, has it got something to do with where you are, and that you don't have what you don't have where you, or you're not where you want to be? So let me continue with giving you a couple of hints while in this decision making process, and just things to keep sort of top of mind. That the more we make decisions, the more we practice it, obviously the better we get. We shouldn't indulge in when we get to the stage of I don't know. So being in this confusion really doesn't help. So we need to just decide, make the decision, and then basically move forward. It just wastes our time, and we're just procrastinating. So that fear and doubt will always be part of decision making because it's something new and it's because it's something that we haven't done before. We shouldn't think that taking longer to make a decision will make us make a better decision. We know that decisions are made in an instant. So if we say that I'm taking a month to decide, we're really waiting a month and making the decision in an instant. There's also no right or wrong decision, I believe. We have to decide we make the decision and then we make it right. So if we decide that we're making a decision, that we need to believe that that decision is the best decision at that point in time with the information that we have, and that we can always in the future decide to change it around a bit. Decision making really propels us into action, because if you haven't decided, then you can't take action. So it's always a good indicator that if you've taken action, that you actually have committed and you've taken the decision. That the more we make decisions, we grow and evolve by making those decisions, because we experience, we maybe make mistakes, and we move forward. And then lastly is, don't change your mind when you've made the decision until you have taken lots of action. Because in the beginning phase, when you're thinking or chopping and changing, it just sort of tells yourself that you're not sort of having your own back, you're not trusting your own wisdom or your own intuition. So this is just a couple of things around decision making. And as I've mentioned before, if you are at a point where you think, I am not where I want to be in my life, maybe have a look at the way that you're making decisions, and if that way of making decisions is really serving you. So that's what I have for you today. Thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you again next week. Thank you, Francois.
Awesome. Yeah, so one of the tips that I received, like a few years ago, I attended something where Quentin said, get married to the decision, not the outcome. And I think that is so powerful. It's like, once you've made the decision, be comfortable in the fact that you made the decision and what you base that decision on. So make sure that you have a sort of a way, as you just described, to make that decision, and then be happy about the decision. We can't control that outcome. So I think that's critically important. So thank you very much, Norma. Great. Have a fantastic weekend. I will see you tomorrow in this cold weather. They did let me know my bike is ready after I got it serviced, so no excuses tomorrow. So we'll hopefully see you. But anyway, have a good weekend. We'll chat soon, and
thank you.
Stay safe. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Good stuff. And with that, we get to our main topic for today, which is about understanding your clients and using the tool called MoneyEQ, which has been brought to South Africa by Hadeda, but I'm not going to steal Robyn's thunder, so let me go over to the topic and introduce you to Robyn Clay, and I'm looking forward to having this discussion with Robyn. Good morning, Robyn. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Francois. Good morning, everybody.
So nice to you. We're all good. We're all good. You can see people are chatting away in the comments and so forth. So it's amazing. I'm really happy and seeing how people are also saying hi to each other and things like that. So really, really love it. It's really amazing to have you here with us. I think you've been on my list for quite a while. Before I knew MoneyEQ was there, because I obviously like to talk about technology on the show as well. And for me, today's topic is really about bringing the human and the tech together, really in a phenomenal way. Together with it's sort of three things, I would say. It's the client or that human, and then it's the advisor, that human. We can debate whether we, as financial advisors, are all human. Just kidding. Like, I've been long enough in this game to be able to make that joke. So, and then obviously the technology that enables this relationship and a deeper understanding and all of these things. So really excited to talk to you, and a warm welcome here from Joburg to you in Cape Town to the show.
Thank you very
let's get
much.
into it. Cool. Let's get into it, Robyn. So, what is if we talk about, let's start it with Hadeda. I'm keen to learn about, like, it's such an interesting name. It was also very appropriate that we had a few Hadedas already, that we could hear as Norma was speaking. And I don't know if when David was speaking, if there was also a Hadeda, but I heard quite a number of them. So what is Hadeda and where does it come from?
Great, thanks, Francois. And it's really nice to have seen all of the people saying good morning. I didn't know many of you, but I did see Adrian in the audience. And hi, Adrian. It's really great to know that there's somebody out there that knows me and has worked with me in the past. So technically, Hadeda is a platform which the Link Tank team have developed in partnership with Duncan Bossio. And the whole thinking and it was that since 2016, we've been working with advisors and financial services businesses, and every year we do various surveys to try and get to grips with what they're struggling with. And every year, those challenges are always the same. Our consulting service is quite time-consuming and can be quite expensive for a lot of advisors as well. So what we've developed is a platform with the intention of bringing all of the software that's available in our South African market and offshore, and advisors and financial services together. So the intention behind Hadeda is to create a place where advisors can get greater insight into what they need, first of all, from a technology point of view, and then enable them to see what kind of technology is available to them and have technology providers then showcase what they offer all in one place. And then once you've got that platform where you've got advisors and technology providers coming together, you can also then potentially offer insights into what's happening in the industry. And MoneyEQ is the very first of our products to be launched on the Hadeda platform.
Awesome. I see Mr. Hendrik Koopman is here. Hendrik, I think it's been 7 years since I've seen you. But yeah, welcome. He's saying hi to you, Robyn. So he's also from Cape Town.
Hello,
Hendrik. My English is escaping me. Just like an exciting hello to have this morning. So good morning, Hendrik. Anyway, so let's get a little bit more into this. I just want to do that, sorry. So just leave it. I will mute and unmute you, Robyn, so don't worry about it. So let's start talking a little bit about MoneyEQ. It was quite interesting. I must say that I went through the process as well. It was quite interesting. So I want to get into sort of, what is the purpose of MoneyEQ? What is it trying to achieve? We'll start there, and then I'll delve a little bit deeper, and then we'll bring Hendrik on a little later as we move on. So let's start, Robyn, with what is the purpose of MoneyEQ, and where did it originate from?
Okay, great. So MoneyEQ was developed in the United States by a company called Financial DNA. Hugh Massey is one of the founders of Financial DNA, and they developed it in 2001. So it's got a really long track record, and it's been tried and tested in both the United States and Australia. I think I was looking at one of the stats yesterday, and they've really, since 2001, built better relationships between more than 30 million people. So it is tried and tested, and it's got all of the science behind it. But essentially, what it is, it's a financial behavioral assessment tool, a DNA tool which will give advisors about 200 insights into a client's EQ to get started. But the really interesting thing about it is that it makes it not only that you get all of these insights, but it also provides you with all of the background and supporting material for you to quite easily be able to have a conversation with the client. So unlike a lot of behavioral type of tools, it's very targeted towards finances and how clients or individuals, families, groups engage with their financial world. So that you can just quickly and easily get those insights. One of the interesting things for us, and I think why we've launched it at a very good time, is we are finding that in this digital world, it's very difficult for advisors to build trust with their clients because they're not getting to spend much time with them, especially not any time with them face to face. So if you're using a tool like this, you'll quickly and easily be able to get some insights into a client, which will enable you to have maybe a more meaningful conversation with them. And then over and above all of that, it also enables you to overlay insights between families or couples, so you get an idea of how the two individuals would engage with each other when they're having when they're going through a financial planning process. So I hope that gives you enough of a background, Francois.
Yeah, and at what point should I then, if I'm making use of MoneyEQ, at which point should I be using, is it like, do I first go through all the fact find and getting all the numbers and all the assets and liability details, and then I go into, okay, so now that I have that, I need some context about what does this mean to the client, or how important it is to the client, or how clients think about money, or do I actually use this before I even get into the fact finding like we traditionally do?
I'm going to ask Hendrik to come and join us just now so that he can give us insight into when he thinks it would be. But in our experience at the moment, it seems to be happening at any point in the relationship. I think some advisors will use it because some clients might find it interesting to do, but they're already clients. We have recently come across an advisor or an advisor network that are actually using it as a prospecting tool. So they're making it available out in the market from a LinkedIn page and saying, do you want to know more about yourself and your finances? So if you do, complete this process. And obviously what it does is then give the advisor a report, which the advisor can make contact with a new client with, and then have quite an interesting conversation with them around their finances. So technically, I think, and I'm gonna let's bring Hendrik in as the financial planning coach. As you know, I'm not really a financial planning coach. I'm more on the technology side, creating the platform or working with the platform that's delivering the solution to South Africa. But I'm sure Hendrik will be able to give us better insight into that.
So let's do that. So Hendrik, welcome. For those that don't know you, this is Hendrik Crafford from Crafford's Coaching, but he's also a financial planner, and he's been in the industry for a very long time. So if you don't know Hendrik, go stalk him on LinkedIn. Hendrik, I mean, you hopefully heard the question that I asked to Robyn. Yeah. And, and she made two interesting points to me, is that, well, it doesn't matter, because, I mean, you would have existing clients when you start using this, right? So it doesn't mean like, oh, no, now I can't use it because I already have this isn't only for new clients, number one. And number two, the way that somebody's using it for prospecting tools. So, but keen to hear your view on this.
Yeah, so thanks and morning to all the listeners. So yes, to Robyn's point and what you also just said, Francois, I think the important thing or where I see it fits in and where I use it with success is to use it initially, if you're onboarding a new client, to first understand the client, and we'll delve into that a little bit later, what one can get out of the report. But I think then the other point is, to your point, is when we do a review of a client, I see a lot of financial coaches which go through our financial coaching program, also using it as part of the review process, because then having that in-depth discussion can also bring up new information about a client which the advisor previously didn't actually know. So definitely you can use it in different ways. So that's what's nice about the tool. It depends on your practice. And some planners also say they don't use it on all their clients. So yeah, so it depends on you personally.
Yeah. Okay. This is so insightful for me. I want to know, Hendrik, let me just bring us back here on the screen. Once you have this, because as I said, I went through doing this yesterday. It was quite an interesting journey. It didn't take me that long. It was about 46 questions. So when I initially opened it, I thought, oh my gosh, I had to take leave. But it went so quickly because it's actually a familiar process, something that I've done quite a few times before, the process itself. And for a few other assessments. And it's also clear. In the beginning, it said, listen, just this is not a test. So that's important. Secondly, it's only it's not a test, it's an assessment, which, when you're from the Free State like me, it means the same thing. But you've got that. And sorry, I know you're also from the Free State, Hendrik. So that's the one thing. But then it also talks about, like, be careful that you don't think about these things from the point of view of how you would like to be acting. You have to be brutally honest, and how are you acting and what is important and, like, most the least important to you at the moment. So I think that for me was also, so my question on this is, like, it was quite hard for me to keep reminding myself is no, not what I know is right. It's almost this thing about don't do what I do what I say, to sort of go that route. So how are you finding clients are sticking? Is, like, the results you're getting, are they, like, spot on? Are they extremely valuable? Does it give you the right insights into all of this?
So, Francois, if I can put you on the spot then and get your view, I think that's where you start off is the first thing that the report you enable one is to understand how do you prefer to engage with a financial planner, and how will you like to engage with a financial planning process. So if I looked at your feedback, it talks to encourage my out of the box thinking, so my creativity. The other one is make me part of the financial planner so that we can brainstorm my goals and dreams, that I help create that plan, and then allow me my freedom and to freewheel. So how does that sit with you? And, how accurate was that if you think about how would you like to engage with a financial planner?
Yeah, so usually I would avoid financial planners because I don't want to talk about my finances, but but let's not go there. Now you can see I'm in a very light-hearted mood this morning, so really enjoying this Friday morning. It was spot on in my opinion, Hendrik. If I look at the things there, it's all about I'm all about dreaming and ideas, and I'm not afraid to take risks and things like that. Albeit it will be calculated risk. It won't just be, oh, this looks interesting, let's just jump in. But I think from what it said, it was quite an interesting, that absolutely sounds like me. And what you said, I want to have the freedom to do things, or whether it's making decisions or it's dreaming or whatever it is, that's quite important in my life in general anyway. So it was quite insightful. And what I did like was that one pager, because it gives you a one page and then it gives you an in-depth sort of, 6-page or something report as well. So I could just have an overview of what this was telling me, and then I could delve in deeper, or just contact my financial planner to then talk me through that. And I guess, what is this useful for in terms of, what are some of the things that we're trying to understand here, Robyn, maybe? Like, what is the key thing that we're trying to get to? Norma was speaking about decisions this morning. So does this help us make, or for you or Hendrik or whoever whoever's playing that financial planning role, to, like, how do I make decisions on the one hand, and on the other hand, like, I think in one way and I make a decision in one way, but then the other way I would maybe behave in a different way. So does this tool help for all of those things?
Yeah, Francois, there's a couple of things that came up while I've been watching you guys having the conversation. The most interesting thing for me that I've been experiencing when I'm having conversations with advisors is how much fun people have with it. So most advisors or most people that have completed the assessment really enjoy the process because, as you said, it's not onerous, it's really quick, and then it's really insightful. So they themselves are getting insights into themselves. And I've yet to come across anyone who hasn't said the word "it's spot on." That's really interesting to me. That most of the time, or all of the time, people have said that. But essentially, you've got 200 insights, right, into a client's behavior, specifically focused around their finances. So what it's helping an advisor know is, how does a client prefer to get information from you? So do they like more detail, or do they prefer pictures? So, one of the conversations I was having with Benny from Asset Map was my style is very much the relationship manager facilitator style, and I like pictures. So technically, if you're using asset map in your practice, you could go, well, geez, there's a picture, that's an asset map client, for example. We've had conversations with advisors that are going, or you to take this client to a coffee shop. And after I did the assessment with them, I realized that they're more formal. They prefer a more formal environment. So they're not making decisions because they don't feel safe in a coffee shop to make a decision. So the minute you move them into a boardroom and we're having more of a formal conversation, I'm more willing to have a conversation or make a decision. So definitely, it's specifically that wealth mentoring report for me is the ideal report for an advisor, because it points out all of those areas explicitly to the advisor. Things like how you make a decision, what your risk profile, well, not really your risk profile, but what your attitude to risk is, and how you're going to look at that, what kind of detail you like to see, whether you're somebody who wants to basically hand over all of the decisions to the financial planner or be involved in the process. So somebody who trusts easily or is a little bit more skeptical, because both of us are a little bit skeptical, or no, I'm a little bit more trusting, you're more skeptical. So it gives you that kind of information. And then key to that is David Kopp spoke about market mood. What's very interesting about this is it specifically looks at market mood. So when you've done an assessment like that with clients, you'll be able to identify which ones are going to react to various issues in the market. Which are the ones you're going to have to contact when markets are looking a little bit scary because they're going to get anxious. It's going to give you those kinds of insights. 200 of them. So you would never be able to have all of the conversations about this thing with a client once. These are insights that you're going to be able to have conversations with them about for the whole long term of your relationship with them.
And immediately when you were saying that, you were talking about using it in the review process earlier. I can't remember. I think it was you who mentioned that they used it in the review process. So, when we do use it in the review process, we always say, I always tell, like, if somebody's trying to get to a client and they, after a few years, clients stop, like, nah, nothing has changed. I don't want to see you. No need. Don't worry. It's all fine. Thanks for letting me know. We can look at it next year. And financial planners and advisors get frustrated with that process. And I always say, like, if you want to have a proper review meeting, or we're looking for a reason to go sit with a client, but if we don't offer new information, new insights, and it's got nothing to do with products, because often we wait for the latest product, the latest enhancement. That's the reason. Yes, it is. But this is so much more of a reason. This is something that majority of clients have not experienced at all before. So I think this is where this is extremely, extremely valuable. And if you can build this into your value proposition, into your business, I think that can really help you, like, just raise the bar for your business, but then also the value that you add. And Hendrik, I want to come back to you, because I'm going to be brave now. I'm going to share my report here on the screen. So let's see. This is the report that I got as the client. Robyn, is it fine if I share this? It's fine?
It's entirely up to you.
Okay, 100%. Cool beans. So if I wanted to be shy about this, it's too late now. So let's have a look at this. So this is the summary report. So it's the longer report. Let me maybe just show. I want to show I clicked the wrong one now. So this is the one that I actually wanted to show. So this is the one-page summary. This is the only one I'm going to show you, and that we can maybe talk about a little bit, Hendrik. So if I look at this, it says that I'm an initiator. And so my question now very quickly becomes, Hendrik, so I got this, okay? It says I'm an initiator. It tells me I like to take bold, aggressive actions and create the rules, which is yes. I want to understand the rules and then break them and make my own. So that's typically what I do. So it also then goes into some behavioral biases. So, and this was where I was sitting back last night and thinking, like, now it's in writing, it's a problem. But anyway, these biases my behavioral biases may get in the way of wise decision making. Your advisor will discuss strategies to help you manage your instincts in your financial plan. So this is very well positioned where so I have to speak to my financial advisor and want to understand what this is about. Although I think if I go to the summary, it does go into more detail about about the behavioural biases is the newness bias. So I'm likely to give more weight to recent information and ideas. I'm always thinking about new ideas and at the forefront of things in my mind. So that's the stuff that gets me excited. That's why I did not take history after grade 9. Standaard 7. So I wasn't interested in the old stuff. I just wanted to know what's happening now. But Hendrik, I mean, like without me waffling on, like from an advisor perspective now, how does an advisor have this conversation? Because I got this report, now like, what's next?
Yeah. So Francois, I think a very good question. I think firstly is what is important for financial planners is this is not a fixing process. This is how Francois most probably will act. So how do I honor you as a unique individual, and how do we create strategies that will support you? Because that's your financial DNA, and I want to say that's Francois' DNA, because it's more. It will most probably play out in your business. It will play out in your life, etc. So how do I support you and bring the awareness that we build, then the competencies to support you? Because there's also a huge benefit if you perhaps can go to the longer report, Francois, and just scroll down. I think it's page 3. There, just stop. There is the report gives you your strengths, so which is great. Is open to unusual ideas. You know what you've created for us over the past year. Bringing new possibilities, Propulsion Pro that you bought, you are highly curious, engaging with all the people that you brought to the show. So, and then on the other side, what is important for me as an advisor and for yourself is to say, what is your performance struggles? Difficult with following set procedures that you just said, jokingly, I break the rules, may fail to make ideas concrete. So if we sat together, how do I help you bringing that wonderful ideas that you've got, and that we make it clear, we make it part of your plan, we bring it to execution. How do I then help you and take you through this process, and then help you also to juggle too many ideas or tasks? But the other part is, and I fell now into that trap, is I played it back for you as the truth. So the second question is, what do you say about it, and how does it play out in your own life? Because this is only an assessment, and you are the specialist on your own life. So how do you feel about that and thinking about those strengths and struggles, Francois?
Yeah, no. I mean, these things, like, that's why I was laughing, like, because these things are so spot on. I'm always like busy with two. I'm halfway through one thing, that I'm already thinking about the next 3 things. And also there are two, like, apart from too many ideas, is that too many tasks. I also, if you look at my Clifton strengths, responsibility is my 3rd highest strength there. And, so I battle to say no. So that strength is actually working against me together with this. So apart from from the fact that I love being innovative and coming up with new ideas and concepts and that, I'm probably not the best guy to see it through to full implementation. I would have to partner with someone that is actually very good with that would say, wow, yes, that is an amazing idea, and they just make it happen. Luckily to lockdown, if it wasn't for lockdown, this show probably still wouldn't have happened, because I've been thinking about this kind of thing for 2 years. And I never got to doing it. And when I had nothing else to do, I couldn't do anything. I saw it through, and now it's just part of my life, and so yes, these things are scaringly accurate. And it was just by the way, so let me just quickly explain the process I went through. So you get like 46 questions, as I said, and there's 3 words for each question, and all you need to do is to say which one is mostly like you, or which one do you identify with most, and which one least. So there will always be one word that you say nothing about. And sometimes all 3 words is like, but that's me, I love it. But then you still have to choose which one is most and which one is least. And that's all I did to come up with this stuff. And it was really amazing. And I don't think it took me, if I say 10 minutes, I think I'm over exaggerating. But it was definitely not longer than that. So Hendrik, I hope that answers your question. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Robyn, is there anything that you want to add at this point, about this? Anything that you also see?
Now, what I also find really, really useful about the report is that it matches advisor style to client style. So what I'd like to do one day, I think what we'll be finding very interesting is do advisors attract clients like them, or how many clients have they got that are not like them at all? This report will tell you what your ideal advisor match is, who you're the most compatible with. So there's also these conversations we've been having about not working as hard as we have to work. So and there's lots of conversations we've been having with the DNA guys about, they call it behavioural stretch, because what happens is once you know what your inclinations are and what your natural behaviour is, you can kind of create a lifestyle for yourself that speaks to those inclinations. And then also be aware of the times where you know you've got to behave or adapt to somebody else's behavioural style. But then at least you know what you're doing, but you'll find you work much harder. So I think it's quite interesting to see how well current relationships are going once you know what style I am as an advisor and what style I am with a client. You probably find you work together really well, and the relationship is going really well already. And that's purely because of your relationship style. So as an advisor, that's also going to be useful to you to know how you need to adapt your own style a little bit to be able to accommodate the clients. So that's also quite cool for me. And at one stage, I want to tackle that. What would happen if you are working with families or couples? So we can show everybody how advisors can look at, if you're planning for a couple, how that can look on one of these style maps.
Yeah, awesome. And it's I lost my train. Oh, what I wanted to say was that I completely lost my train of thought. It was such an important point to make now. I lost it. It'll come back now. Hendrik, so now I know sort of my I have some great insights. It's making me think. You are, as a financial advisor, telling me more about this. You almost educating me around what this actually means, probably. And this is an entire process. As you said, this isn't a once-off engagement. And in fact, I also don't believe this is a client-only thing where they do this and then read the report, obviously, and then we just go through the report and that's that. This at some point needs to integrate into financial planning. So how have you seen clients receive this in general with the ones that you've used this with? What value is it bringing? And does it enhance the level of engagement from the client? Now, just to be clear, like when I talk about client engagement, just for everybody's benefit, I'm talking about, it's not just me as the financial advisor or planner talking. The client is talking with me, and we're actually back and forth. It's a proper conversation, and we are involved both in the process. It's not a one-sided delivery. So that's what I mean with client engagement. The client is actively thinking, actively participating. That's what's important. So has this enhanced that at all with your clients?
Yeah, so I want to share two quick stories, perhaps, Francois. The first one is the other day I had a client that I engaged with that came on board for financial coaching specifically, that said, I'm very bad at budgeting. And we did the MoneyEQ, and it came out that the person is scoring low on budgeting structure, managing my finances. However, the important thing there was, because the client was already judgmental about how they manage their own finances, but with all the best budgeting tools in the world, she was not getting it right to budget. And by just changing the language to say that actually if we take the budget and we make a spending plan, and you create, like in the old days, an envelope where you've got X money to spend a month and the rest you save and use for your household. That made a huge shift for the client. The other one was a financial advisor that used the product asked me to engage with one of the high net worth clients, which we saw together virtually. And the client actually went through the process. And although the client is an ultra high net worth client, the client was investing in very safe, actually all the money in cash and money market, low risk investments. And through the engagement and the process, the client actually said that I'm actually working against myself. But the report actually brought out things like the biases, etc. And we were able to have those conversations, and the client, through the questions, actually made some moves to allow the advisor to engage differently and structure portfolios in a other way. So through one report, you can see how do your client wants to communicate, what is the financial competencies of your client. I call it the budgeting, long-term planning, goal planning, etc., as well as understanding the biases and the risks that your client want to take, the risk tolerances, the risk appetite, etc. You can get from one report, which then flows directly into the financial planning process to your question. Thanks, Francois.
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, I see we're running a little bit out of time, but I'm keen to understand. Also, you know, from a financial planner, it's another system they have to get. It's another piece of technology becoming part of their stack. So how does this work, Robyn? So I'm playing devil's advocate, Robyn. So how does this work? How do the fees work? All of that stuff. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, that's one of the things Duncan is particularly proud of, that you don't need a system to use this. So all you really need to do is register on the Hadeda website, and it really is a software as a service. You don't need to buy a license for this. You don't need to buy any kind of software for it. You pay as you go. So what we've done on the Hadeda platform is we've bought the license for the software and we've made it available on Hadeda. So all an advisor really needs to do is go and register on www.hadeda.co.za. It takes you 2 minutes to do that. And then you purchase credits for bundles of credits. So obviously the more credits you purchase, the lower the unit cost is for one assessment or one report. And then you go for each time you want to complete an assessment with a client, that happens and you use up 1 credit. And that gives you the 3 reports that we've discussed today. That's 35 Rand for one of those assessments. It'll give the client 2 reports and you the wealth mentoring report. In addition to that, though, once the client has completed the assessment, you're going to get another 16 reports that are available to you, which give you insight into leadership qualities, entrepreneurial styles, all kinds of other things, team dynamics, all kinds of other reports that one day we'll start looking at from a Hadeda point of view to promote the assessment in different ways, because it doesn't simply need to be an assessment that can be used between advisors and clients. It's got a myriad of other applications, but accessing it is really easy. It's just a matter of registering on Hadeda and then using an assessment and buying the credits, and then sending your client an assessment for 35 Rand and asking them to complete it. And you only do it when you need to do it, and you only do it for the clients that you feel would enjoy the process without any commitments.
Yeah, awesome. Hendrik, anything you would like to add?
No, what I would most probably say, you put this website is very easy. You go and put your own logo and branding on, so your client actually receive a co-branded email, which is then Hadeda and your own branding. So, and I think due to the fact that it's a pay-as-you-go, there's actually no risk for you. Go and try it out, have fun. It adds a heck of a lot of value. So yeah.
So one hard question around privacy. So this is like amazing information. What kind of, is it only the assessment? Is there other identifiable information? Is there any risk to the client to go and do this assessment? Things that we need to be aware of, or like, where do we stand from a privacy point of view?
So we comply with PAPIA. We only ask for an advisor's username, email address and password and company details. They provide us with whatever else they want to give us. We commit to never sharing any of that information. The client's information then sits inside the advisor's account. So nobody at Hadeda can see any of that information. Only an advisor sees that information. Yeah. And all of that information is cleaned out every 6 months. So the reports are extracted out of Hadeda. It's good to keep them where you need to keep them outside of the system, but they'll be stored inside Hadeda on your login only.
Okay, awesome. Robyn, thank you very much. And Hendrik, to you as well. Thank you very much. It was a very insightful conversation and excited to see where this goes. This is something different. And I think once you have this, I want to go as far as to say that possibly risk profiles, nah, I'm not going to worry about those for very much longer because there's a better understanding here. But anyway, so just from my side, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for sharing with all of us. And I will keep an eye on what's going on, and then we'll chat again soon.
Thank you, Francois. Thanks, Robyn. It was nice. And thanks to all the listeners. All of the best for the week.
Everybody. Yeah. Have a great weekend.
Cool stuff. Thank you very much, guys. All right. So with that, we've come to the end of the show. And I really hope that you're going to have a fantastic weekend. I'm keen to hear what you think about what you just saw today. So down in the comments or in the chat boxes, wherever you are, if you're watching the recording, share with us what did you think about today. And then just one thing I do want to leave you with is that last night on Propulsion Pro, in the 30-day video challenge, we had an open mic night, which was amazing. It was like, my mind was blown. Like we weren't like many people, but I so enjoyed what we did there. And we had so much fun. We played a game. And it was just amazing. And to get to know everybody better there, and also the skills that we learned as part of that game, making it easier to make video and delivering our messages was just absolutely mind-blowing. So really, really enjoyed that. And I just wanted to share that with you. It was an amazing evening last night. It was only an hour, and we're thinking about doing more of those kind of things on there as well. But yeah, on that note, have a fantastic weekend. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. I love you all. And remember to raise the bar. Bye-bye.